Hello, and thanks for coming to Dish Doggy Gaming. My name's Mark, and we got railroads online here. This is the new Alaska map, uh, Aurora Falls, and I've decided to do a little video about it and what I've done so far. I don't like doing instantaneous reviews or anything. I need to have some time to spend on the map to figure out how you're going to build on it because it tends to be very demanding on you to figure out uh, how to lay your track, what directions to go, the grade. This map is very challenging when it comes to grade. There's a lot of elevation changes here on this map, and this map is meant to be steep grades, and it'll work your brain to try to figure out how to run your routes. There's a lot of people who like to build flat on the ground, and I admire you if you can on this map without using any bridging or getting over like the if you look at the body, let's say the typical body height of your character, body and a half of him high with your dirt stone railroad bed. You're doing pretty good. I get that high, I want to use trestle. I don't like to have really tall ground stone or dirt for the rails. So we all build different. We all play different. This is the freight depot. This is not the default version. I changed it. I've done a lot of building, decorating, and this map is so big. It's going to be a lifetime of work. I mean, it's crazy how big this is. This is one huge map. You can spend probably an hour just driving from one end to the other to get to different industries. But this is a really fun game, and I am a sandbox lover. And I've heard the devs say it's not a sandbox game, but to me it is. And it's a, it's just an as a kid I had an HO train set, so I had a train layout, and I could never get anybody in my family to get interested in it, so it was just me. But man, did I enjoy that! And this game brings back a lot of that kind of memory stuff for me. Laying track, building. I just love building stuff that is and this is just like double the fun because it's trains, right? So I've got a stone foundation underneath my expressway. It's not easy to do. There's tricks to building, and I didn't want to be like walk inside of your expressway and see grass sticking up through the floor. And this sits low to the ground, so there's a lot of grass coming through the floor. So I figured out a way to do the stone foundation under it. I got my dock decorated up on both sides. One end is delivery and loading only. So got our wagon sitting here. Now I'm going to show you my thoughts on the map for stuff that I've done and places for things. So this is an American train simulator game, and in America we call our cars, train cars, cars, not wagons, and we don't typically use the word. I mean, you can. I'm not knocking anybody for it. I'm just saying we don't really shunt. Okay, cars around, we move them, transfer them, and our yards are called classification yards. So this is the classification yard, and this is the biggest area on the map that's flat that you could build the largest rail yard you've ever seen. I have 3 yards here. I've got a yard A, a yard B, and a yard C. I'm going to jump in the air and show you. This place is huge. We're going to put him over here. Go to V. So here's my rail yards. That big one is A, the middle one is B, and that's C. Over here we have the roundhouse engine house. I found a way to do this very precisely in laying out this circle with the 90. And man, it just knocked it out of the park here. Really cool. I put the 3-way switch in because it Ys the 2 sides, and it does it so nicely. This middle one, I thought I'll put a hand cart on each one of these, and so I did. And I'm like, that's really kind of stupid. So I took them off, and then I'm like, well, maybe Betsy could set here, the little engines. So I pulled one in, and some of them, there's just not enough room. The engines will clip into it. So it's kind of a waste, really. And I'm like, well, you can pretend all you want. Pull an engine out, back it in, like you're going to do some maintenance on it sitting there. So you'd have a little line to do that if you wanted to. But it's really kind of useless. So you can open your doors and not interfere with the stops here. But that's one big roundhouse. Over here, I made a supply. The Northeast Railroad Supply. They sell all things railroad to the railroad. We have a new model of car. Around the back is like their car lot. There's a bug in these little cars, and I got so tired of trying to get them down here, and I probably derailed, oh man, about 9 times. 9 derails to get these cars down here. You can't transport stuff like you used to be able to buy a car, grab onto it to re-rail it, and use a transporter, and that's the way I would have done it. But you can't do that anymore, so you actually have to drive them all the way down here. And I had 9 derails on the way down. So as soon as they get that bug fixed, I'll finish buying all the cars and bringing them down here and setting them out here. It's just for looks, but it's, I thought that's kind of cool. Make a nice little addition to the mammoth big yard. So you got little roundhouses at each end, 3 big rail yards, a huge engine house. And like I said, this is probably the biggest, flattest area I've seen on the map. There's other flat areas, but this is not like this. This is the largest spot. You can even go over that way even, but I'm like, well, actually, I don't know how much more room you really need. So this is it for me. So I've done a little trick here. This tool shed is blocking the switch. It's inside the shed. That keeps this line permanently closed. And this is where, for each yard, you have a dispatcher office and a section foreman. So, yard A, section foreman, he's in charge of all the switches, traffic moving in and out of the yard. Dispatcher decides who's going where and what loads are going where. So each yard has one. They're set up. This line's always a throughway, so it's always left open for traffic moving in and out. So it's never blocked. And this is yard C. What I thought I'd do is load up some lumber and go supply the ore mine. So start making some ore. I got so burnt out making towns. And I still got a bunch more to make. But this is the sawmill area here. I moved the sawmill just so that the offloading station is in the water instead of on the land. But this is how I got the sawmill kind of laid out here. So the elevated line goes up to and comes down from the logging camp. There's another line that goes from the other depot in the default location and goes up to the logging camp. And the easiest way I found to get there was to snake my line up to it. So from the depot, we come out and we head this way, and we take this line and we snake it up. This is like 9 degrees rise, and the only way to get up here on a 3-degree is it's like 70-degree turns, anywhere from 70 to 80 maybe, but probably 70, and snake your line, because from where that meat packing plant is up to there is like it's like 9 degrees or something. That's pretty steep. Um, After that, I laid this line. I'm like, that was way easier than what I did here. But this is going to the oil field. And I didn't want to have to rip stuff apart to hook these two lines together here. It's the closest point they come together, but this is a 3 degree line. And this one, you come out of there and you don't start really kind of getting the elevation till about where the branch of, there used to be a farm there. I got the meat packing plant there. But 3 degrees, you can get up here real easy to the sawmill now, or the logging plant camp, and the oil fields, like I said, over there. One of the first challenges I had is coming up to this plateau edge. You got your oil refinery. So I'm like, I got to get down this. There's 3 different levels here. So you got this high, then you got that section there, which is like a medium, and then the bottom section. So it's like 3 plateau areas. So I'm like, I'm going to try to do the same thing, snake it down 3 degrees. And it kind of worked out pretty good, I think. Um, Follow that ridge line over so far and then cut it back. But then I came up with, I'm like, I like this little hill area here. I'm like, man, this would be cool to bring your track around and go underneath it. So that's what I did. I'm pretty happy with that. A little something different. 3 degrees. But overall, I like this map. You get way up here in the high country. I've seen some people's maps where they're bringing their, kind of impressed with how they're getting their line up here, because I was like, man, how am I going to get my line up here? I moved the ironworks. It was sitting over here. I moved it up here on this plateau, and the iron ore mine was over here, and I moved it to over here because it gave me more track lane room. So I slapped it down right there. So I think it worked out pretty good there. And I was able to get all my track laid in here and my big loop around. But to get my line to come up into this high mountain area, I came in by the dredge. this line right here. Comes over to the dredge and then cuts up the hillside. It's really pretty around these falls. So I'm like, yeah, I gotta have a line come over here by this fall. It just looks so cool. A little trick I did here on this bridge is combine the bridges together so you don't have the open V in it. So it gives it a more rigid look. And make sure that I have no derails. I set the bridge down lower, and then I put a new track over top of the track so that what I'm actually driving on is a track over top of the old tracks, and there's no way that anything could accidentally derail because I'm driving over different splines that aren't connected. I don't know if it would do it or not. I drove a train across them, and I didn't have no problem. But I'm like, just for my own peace of mind, I'm not gonna keep it that way. I'm gonna rework it and set the bridge down lower, and then lay track over top of it. That way I know I'll never have any kind of problem derailing. But for a suspension bridge, I'm like, yeah, it gives it a nice look. Makes it a little bit longer. I think there's 3 bridges long there. And then you get 2 in between to block the open V's. Anyway, we cut up the mountain. You get so much of a feeling of just wide open places with nothing there. Pretty much up here, I pretty much moved everything, I think, except for the gold smelter. The gold smelter I left where it was default setting, but stamp mill I think was here, and I didn't like it there. There's a guy, he strings, he's an old guy like me. His name's Desert Charlie. And he did something that I really liked with his stamp mill. And he's like, yeah, so if you like the idea, use it, you know? And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I brought my stamp mill over here. Found me a spot where the backside of it will set up against a rock feature like this, just like he did. And then mine's set up different than his as far as like how I decorated it and put the water tank in and got that wall there. With this game, I think it's a waste of time doing all the water delivery that you would have to do. And so what I've done with the farm and the stamp mill is I put the water for those right across from it. So all I gotta do is haul one water tank car up here, fill it up, dump it, fill it up, dump it, fill it up, dump it. Because it'd drive me crazy if I had to deliver all the water to these. I'm like, you know, if you was a farmer, you'd go broke having water imported. You'd have your own well, and you'd pump your own water. Any place that, like this they would do the same thing. But I'm like, okay, it's a game, you know, so I get it. But this is how I'm going to do it. Set these water towers across from the reservoir, and just one tank car then, and I'll fill the tank car and then dump the tank car. This, I think this looks really cool myself. I like the way it looks. But Desert Charlie had a really good idea of setting your stamp mill up against the mountainside like that. Gives it a really cool look. So I've tried to decorate things up. This ground over here is not flat level, and I had to put a bunch of the snow rail bed down. It don't look that good, but at the same time I'm like, I can't possibly put anything down here because of it undulated up and down so bad that nothing would sit there. So this is the only way I can do it. I came up with a little funny. Haven't got. I need to redo my sign though. The Chicken Ranch, and I got some other ones. But to make the place for the chickens to go in and out freely, I used the horse trough upside down and doubled them up to make the little door area for them to go in and out. Well, there's Greeley's Billiard Parlor from Unforgiven. So the stamp mill, you take this line, elevated line here, it'll take you to the gold mine, and you take this line here, it'll take you to the gold smelter. And I did a little decorated of a derailed washout area, and you have to drive your train across this. So put it up against the water, make it look like it washed it out. And a train on a bridge, it failed, and there's collapse of the bridge, and train derailed, and there it all sits. So you got another bridge here I did like the other one. Try to put some little places here and there in the wilderness. So this is our smelter, gold smelter. I believe this is in the default location. I'm pretty sure it is. There's enough flat land here that I'm like, yeah, this is fine. I can make use of this and not have to worry about anything. I just like to have a loop around these so I can come in, get out. And like I said, you know, you can build and build and build. and go crazy getting things laid out and decorated up. But when you drive your train through here, man, it just looks really cool. We'll go look at the gold mine here. Basically, it's right over there, but I'll take you up around the loop here, the line. Hit the great big lake area. And I came up with this idea on Pine Valley for doing a bridge like this with the rail up on top. And as far as I know, I was the first person to do that. I hadn't seen it on anybody else's video. And the way I like to do it is to put in this section of stone underneath here and use the method of getting the rounded corners, and then the V part of the bridge, use the metal bridge. That's why the stone kind of helps to hide the bottom of the metal bridge, and use that to span that little tiny section of the V, and run your track across the top of it, and it looks like a really nice trestle long span over water. You put in your supports underneath. Basically from here all the way to the gold mine. This is just downhill. You cut your throttle and you just coast. So I moved the gold mine over here just a little bit, and then set this area up the way I liked it here. I'm like, man, gold mine, this would be a hopping place, man. There would be buildings everywhere, just like back in the day when a gold mine would open. I mean, it was just instantaneous buildup. And then when they ran dry, it'd be a ghost town after that. So I just went nuts over here. Got a whole community over here too. I like this snow area up here. It's really cool when you come up here to stop and turn the snow on and just drive through that snow in this winter environment up here. It's really awesome. The weather and the lighting on these maps are killer good. But all the gold is up here. So all the delivery of all the goods coming up here. That's why I say, man, you will spend an hour just running goods up here from all the way down low land to the highland. And from one end of the map to the other to get there. So that's the depot area. And this is where things split and branch off. And this gets to be crazy elevation here, and you just no way to do it unless you go elevated. Um, you got to get up here to the coal mine. Once you get up here, it gets flat. And I haven't really been able to worry about this area yet for decorating it or anything. Just get the track laid out, get it to it. When I start to use it, that's when I'll start decorating stuff. Got a little bypass to go around the oil area if you needed to. So I try to think about where you're going and where you're coming from, and split offs to get you to where you're going. Like this split off here will take you back to the sawmill. And this is crazy elevation changes here. And it's all elevated track. You can't drop down fast enough unless you take it all the way to the end and then cut left and come all the way around that pond to get down to that elevation. And the only way I could do it was to just throw it on elevated track and snake it back and forth, back and forth. Snake it and drop it 3%. Get down to that 3%. Get over here and bam, you're at the sawmill. So it's an easy run. A lot of people may not like it because it's on elevated track, but too bad, I guess. So I'm gonna run some lumber, load up and run some lumber over to the ore mine. But so far, this is what I've got done on the Alaska map, or Aurora Falls map. I'm going to probably delete that depot over there. Do something with that track area. Small decorative look to it. But I'm going to have keep my depot over here by my rail yard. And I would encourage anybody, if you want a big rail yard, come over here and utilize this huge flat area here for a rail yard. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I hope you get some ideas. If you need to know anything, just ask in the comment. I'll get back to you. Thanks a lot.